So I thought we'd do another story time because I need a break from the NIFB videos that I make. When I make them, I need to do something else because those videos make me they give me a frustration headache and they just make me really angry and I don't like to be angry. So we're going to do another story time and we are going to talk about how the dentist pulled the wrong tooth. Okay, so I grew up with no money, and I mean no money. A dentist was not an option. And so I had never really been to one. I think I had one cavity filled when I was like 8 or 9, but I'd never been to a dentist. And my wisdom teeth had come in, and they had become impacted. I was maybe 25 when it really started to get bad, and I dealt with it. It would get like really infected, and I would take antibiotics, and I would just deal with it. But a couple of years ago, I decided I have dental. I need to get this fixed. So I kind of looked up a dentist. I read reviews. I went online. I read more reviews, and I went to the local, and I found this fairly new practice, but it had really good reviews. And so I set up an appointment, and I went in that morning at like 6 in the morning, and I think I was there from 6 until noon. But it started with like the full like dental x-ray thing, and then it moved to a teeth cleaning and an evaluation and all that stuff. And then I had to wait a little bit for the dentist to be available to pull my teeth. Now, because I'd never been to a dentist and I have, I guess, an extremely pathetic gag reflex, when he pulled this side's tooth, I almost swallowed it. He pulled it, I gagged, and I had to cough it back up. And then he pulled the top one. And so he didn't want to stick his hand in my mouth all the way back to feel around back here to see what he was doing. So he just kind of did it, I guess, a little bit on sight. And so he pulls this tooth. It bleeds. There's no problem. I don't gag. He pulls this tooth. I don't gag. And I'm not a fan of painkillers, so I didn't take any painkillers. And my face is like ginormously swollen. But luckily, I had my mom with me, and she drove me home. And I took some Tylenol PM, and I went to bed, thinking everything's good. Way to go, got my teeth pulled. Well, my husband was working at that point a 3 to, or a 5 to 5, or maybe it was a 6 to 5 shift, I think. I can't remember the exact shift, but I know that he would go in the morning and he would leave in the afternoon, or he would, and he would get home. So he gets home and my face is really swollen, and we're just sitting there watching TV, and I'm like, something doesn't feel right. It still feels like it does when that tooth is bothering me. And I'm thinking that's just, they pulled it. But then I start, I'm taking my tongue with hair like this and feeling around. And I'm like, something really doesn't feel right. So I go into the bathroom. And I, open up and I look back into back here. And I'm like, no tooth. And I'm freaking out. Like, I'm in complete and total panic mode. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm minus a tooth I shouldn't be. And then they're going to have to pull this tooth. And here I am, I'm not even 29 yet, and I'm already down a tooth. Holy crap, this is a big deal. And I start to cry, and I start to freak out, and I go and I tell my husband, I'm like, honey, I think they pulled the wrong tooth. And he goes, no, they didn't. I was like, no, babe, they pulled the wrong tooth. And he thinks I'm crazy. So I show him the inside of my mouth, and he's like, they pulled the wrong tooth. At that point, I just let go to hysterics and start to cry. But then I realized crying's not going to do me any good, and I'm not the kind of person that's just going to sit there and wallow in it and cry for 5 hours. So I'm like, okay, frick. I need to get a hold of the dentist. I'll get up real early tomorrow morning, and I'll go in. But until then, I need to know what my options are, because I'm freaking minus a tooth here, and I don't want to be 29 minus a tooth, because when you're minus a tooth like that, everything in your mouth shifts, and it can cause you to lose more teeth. It can cause this tooth to come down, and these teeth to shift over, and it's basically a one-way ticket to dentures, and I don't want to have dentures, so I'm just like, crap. But there are a couple options. There's like taking that wisdom tooth and putting it here, or getting an implant, and several other things. And I do a whole bunch of research that night on figuring out what I want done and my options. And so I go in the next morning. It's like 7 in the morning. I have my husband drive me, and we go in. And I look around because I don't want to make a scene. I don't think that does any good when you make a scene. So I didn't want to make a scene, and I didn't want to be mean about it, because mistakes happen. As long as you're willing to fix it, I'm good. So I go to the girl on the front desk with no one, and then I'm like, I think the dentist pulled the wrong tooth. And she goes, what? No. And I'm like, no, really, seriously, the dentist pulled the wrong tooth. And she doesn't believe me. She thinks I'm crazy. So what she does is she's like, okay, go sit down. And then she talks to the x-ray technician that does, like, this side of your mouth. And by the way, my mouth really freaking hurts at this time. I didn't have painkillers. It was just, it was a nightmare. I didn't realize it would be that painful. And so, like, this really hurts. And then I still have that tooth that's impacted that's causing pain. And then I have where it's missing here causing pain. So I'm in a crap ton of pain. But they call me back to the thing to get the x-ray. And I open up my mouth, which hurts so bad. Like, so bad. Ellie! Sorry, guys. I'm going to keep telling you, as long as they want to be outside, we're filming outside. But, so, they do that whole, like, 360 x-ray thing, and then they send me back to my seat, and I'm sitting there with my husband, and all of a sudden, the x-ray technician, the girl that was at the desk, and the office manager, and the other dentist all go into, like, this tiny little room, and I lean over to my husband, and I'm like, I think they saw the x-ray. I don't have a tooth. So they call me back, and it wasn't my dentist, it was his, I guess, his partner. I've only seen her once or twice since I've been in there, but, she's like, I'm really sorry, they pulled the wrong tooth, I'm trying to get a hold of your dentist now, we are going to fix this, and I'm like, can we just do something about the pain right now, because I have the impacted tooth, the pulled tooth, my face is swollen, and it hurts to the point I'm in tears. So she's real sweet, she numbs it up and gets it to where, like, it's bearable again, and then my dentist comes in, and, well, my dentist doesn't come in, he's still not there yet, I have to tell you, okay, so the office manager is standing in the corner, and I didn't know this until after we had started to talk, but she was pregnant, and she was going in, and she's like, oh crap, she brought her husband, and the only reason I brought my husband was, there was no freaking way with the amount of pain that I was in, that I was going to be able to drive myself the 45 minutes to the dentist. So I had brought my husband, because I needed that, reprieve, I guess. I needed someone to take me, but she's thinking that they're going to start screaming at me, and they're going to, like, be really, really angry, and they have every right to be angry, and I'm just going to take it, but I'm not going to cry. She's so determined to go in there, and she's like, I am not going to cry. So she gets in there, and by this point, the pain medication that I am on has, well, it's not even on, just the numbing stuff has kicked in, and so I'm not feeling it, which puts me in a way better mood. If I'm not in pain, I'm not a cranky little nightmare, so I'm not in pain, and I just start joking, because what are the odds, the first time you go to the dentist in, like, God, 15, 16 years, and your first experience with the dentist, the one dentist that did the cavities thing, basically, he said some stuff that I'm not going to talk about, but basically, I was a hopeless case, because I was poor, and all sorts of other stuff, and he doesn't know why he keeps doing this. It was pretty bad. He basically said that I was going to lose all my teeth, and, I mean, he was a jerk, and it was traumatizing, and I was only 8, and this was just for filling some freaking cavities. It was awful, but, so the second time ever going to the dentist pulls the wrong tooth. So, like I said, it's pretty freaking traumatic. Yeah, it's traumatic. I don't know any other way to put it. It's traumatic. I still have dreams about coughing up that tooth. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it any other way. But, yeah. So, she's determined not to cry. And I'm making jokes. I'm like, what are the odds? This is ridiculous. I mean, when I looked up the malpractice suits for it, because the only way to find out, like, odds, you have to look up malpractice, like how many people sue and things like that. It happens, like, 4 times a year. So, what are the freaking odds that it's me? I'm that, like, freaking 4 in a gazillion that gets their tooth pulled. The wrong tooth. And I'm laughing about it at this point, because, I mean, you can either be angry or you can laugh. And to me, it's funny. To this day, it's still funny. I still see the same dentist, by the way. And, so she's like, I was so prepared to come in here, and I thought you'd be mad, and you brought your husband, and I'm like, oh crap, what's gonna happen? And we're like, no, we're good to go, just, what are we gonna do about fixing it? So, my dentist finally arrives, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I was trying not to make you gag, and I really was trying to help you out, which he really, really was. He's a really good dentist. I still go to him to this day. I do not, and I'm saying this on camera, which means that, I mean, there's no way I could sue him in the long run for this, because this is literally what I'm saying. I do not feel like it was malice behind it. I do not feel like it was a mistake that was not fixable. Crap happens. As long as you fix it, it is what it is. So we go over the options, and he does pull this tooth, the wisdom tooth over here, and it has a cavity in it. And I don't want to have it, like, put in and then have, like, the cavity filled. And I mean, come on, it was not even a gum line. Of course it's going to have a cavity. I mean, that thing was just, like, it was halfway covered with tissue, and like I said, it had gotten infected several times before I finally decided to get this done. And so yeah, he pulls that tooth, and then we start discussing options. And the option that I chose, which I think was the best option, was I decided to go ahead and get an implant. And an implant requires, sorry, mosquitoes. An implant requires that they scrape the gum line, they put in, or they open up the gum line, they put in like a bone graft because you need it to put the screw in. And it's several things. It took almost a year for me to get everything done to get the implant. It was kind of painful. Not gonna lie, not a fan of the implant. I hope I never have to get another one. I don't think I will, as long as I take care of my teeth. I am eventually going to get, because there are people that will comment, they always do. I do have an overbite. I do need to get that fixed. I will eventually get that fixed. But yeah, it wasn't the most fun thing I've ever had done, but it is for an interesting story. I still absolutely adore my dentist. I recommended him to my mom. He's not a bad dentist. He's done a lot of my mom's dental work. He will do any of my future dental work. Not mad about it at all. Just think it's kind of the funniest thing that ever happened. I mean, what are the odds that the first time you go to the dentist in forever, and you're already scared of the dentist because your experience when you were a kid was traumatic, and then this is traumatic. And every time I go in there now, I do bring my husband with me because I'm nervous. It's not that I think he's going to do anything wrong. It's just traumatic. So, I have to have support. My blood pressure goes up. It's the only place I have high blood pressure. I've had my blood pressure checked several times in other places, but it is always high when I go to the dentist because I am nervous. But he did a really good job on the implant. I like the implant. It worked out really well. It doesn't cause me any discomfort now, except for when I drink. I do have a little bit of pain. With cold there, it's like a little more sensitive than normal, so I just don't get like ice in my drinks anymore, but that's not really a big deal. I just think it's a funny story and something that I could tell in between the mind-numbing NIFB videos. I'm also probably going to do a makeup video tomorrow when I do the next NIFB video that I'm going to do. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for my next hot topics, which will be on Trump and Iran. And I guess I'll see you later. Bye!